So they go very on. They don't want to.
I graduated in the year 2020, and Max-Migold has been an excellent training for me. I went through this training and transitioning from an architect to a facility manager, and I totally enjoyed every bit of the training. It's so impactful. It went down to the list, to the bits of everything I need to know as a facility manager, and it has helped my career. Right now, I've gotten a job from NI facility facility that I'm currently managing as a facility manager, and I so enjoyed the training, the team. I got to know about Max-Migold in year 2020 when they put up some flyers on an e-flyer. I saw an e-flyer that talked about facility management training, and it's something I've always shown interest. I've been looking out for what I can do differently as an architect to build myself and add value to myself. Then I got to know about Max-Migold. I followed through, and I had a 2 days free training session with Max-Migold, and from there I got so much interest in building my career as a facility manager, and they have helped me. I've gone through the full training, and I'm a graduate of Max-Migold. I appreciate that, and they have been wonderful. They have added so much value to my career, and it has been an excellent walkthrough with Max-Migold. Thank you.
My name is Peter Lawal, a facility manager with Triumph Properties and Facility Management. A graduate of FMMC Batch 12, of which prior to that I was a graduate of Physics with Electronics. It's funny when you hear physics and facility management. That shows what facility management can do to you. Coming into this, when I took the course, the 3 months master craft class, which was quite intense and very eye-opening, I came into the course with the intention of learning more pending when I will be getting fully employed, because prior to the program I was still in the job market trying to get somewhere to work. So fast forward to the class, I went through a lot, and this kind of broadened my perspective to the everyday activities and everyday objects I see around me. There are opportunities, there are all these things matter, right from the fabric of the material used in painting, decorating, even life of the dust on the table, cleaning.
Hello, my name is Amaka Anasi, and before the facility management diploma, mastercraft diploma, I was working in the Labon School as a facility manager. I heard about the diploma and I attended the free training first because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the diploma. So the free training convinced me that this was it. So I registered for the diploma. It has been worth my while, really, and very worth my while. So before the diploma, I had been working in facility management for about 5 years, and generally groping in the dark, making mistakes, learning from costly mistakes. Now with diploma, my facility management strategy has changed. It's no longer firefighting, but even though that still happens occasionally because life happens. But now I know, okay, so I have different maintenance strategies for different assets I can put in place and reach the pains before faults happen, which is the best way of practicing facility management. Then also, I know that some of my colleagues, some of my classmates in diploma have gotten promotions or pay rises, and you want to have that too. And also, through the training, I've been exposed. In fact, I'm still being exposed. I contribute and I learn by being part of the alumni group. It's wonderful. There's a lot. I'm exposed to industry standards. You hear from other people who are wearing the same shoes as you're wearing. So you're not alone. It's big, that sense of community. And I want to thank Mr. Paul and the team of Max-Migold for the wonderful opportunity. And I encourage you to start the program.
My name is Adeniji Clements. I work with Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I joined the Max-Migold in January 2022, and which is the diploma program. I enjoyed the program, both the field, practical. There is a practical we hold at Ikoyi. Forgot the name of the address. The plumbing practical. It was also very, and it helped me a lot to even to improve on at my own site. I started working in Ministry of Foreign Affairs since 2007, and from resident at Ikoyi to our training school at Along Badagry from 2012, and from there, since then, they tried to introduce Max-Migold to me, in which my organization see that from there I can still gain more experience to improve my career. And since when I joined in the area of asset register, I improve on it. In the area of procurement, I make sure that all our materials and everything is being kept safely. And in the area of maintaining the generator annually also, it helped me a lot. Both the cleaning of the environment, it was so awesome. Max-Migold we still continue to be great, and we enjoy Mr. Paul, Mr. Emmanuel. I can't remember all our resource people. We really enjoy them. And I pray that God Almighty will continue to help them and will continue to promote the Max-Migold. Thank you.
Mastercraft program started. I attended a training before, a free training before the Mastercraft program, and I told myself that it took me a lot of sense to do the Mastercraft program. And just my first day at the class, I learned a lot. A lot. It was like I was even practicing facilities management all this time. I went home and I went home very fulfilled. And I told myself I have to be great starting this program. Before then, I didn't have I wasn't called to this interview, but like started dropping my CV in some comments. Then I got this interview, and when I got there, the way I related with people interviewing me, they really knew that I had serious idea of what facilities management is all about. And before now, trust me, if I did that interview before the class had started, I don't think I would have gotten the job. Because a lot of things I had learned from this place, contract management, facilities management in total, what it's all about and what it entails, brought me out and made me stand out in the interview process. I was able to tell them much about contract management. I was able to tell them much about KPIs and how to supervise and all of that, and how to manage a building and how to manage facilities in the building and what to look out for. And they were very, 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 very impressed with my section. I know I'm 100% sure it was due to the few lectures, because I've not even gone too far in Mastercraft program when I went for this interview. But the few things I've learned in the class got me all the ideas, and I was able to move forward and I was able to get the job.
I'm Matthew Ojonuga Friday. Actually, I'm very grateful to be part of this free training. I'm working with a Seven Nigeria Limited as a maintenance and servicing engineer. Also, I'm a mechanical engineer by profession. I've been looking onto opportunity to build up a career in facility management. And thank God I came across the Max-Migold online on WhatsApp, and I came to the opportunity and I came for the training. Actually, the first time of being here, and I'm pleased to report that the training was absolutely wonderful. I learned something new, very new that I've not learned before. And Mr. Paul is a very wonderful lecturer and also a mentor to say, because what I have downloaded into for this training is what enough to be a mentor to align with. And I believe as time goes on, I promise to get close and learn more from him, because I believe he has much to deliver. And also I want to comment on his efforts so far to make sure the training was wonderful in terms of pre-launch and every other facilities and things which are made available for everybody.
My name is Okote Okoyego. I heard about Max-Migold from a friend. A friend referred me. And actually, I just concluded my MSc. I've not actually had another experience different from academics. But coming here today actually has opened my eyes to a lot of opportunities. It has actually made me believe there are lots of opportunities outside academics in terms of the management aspect, the HSE, and more of it. And for the speaker, it was very fantastic. He brought everybody wow, really made good points, and he changed the idea and thought into very, very effective. And referring people, I think he has actually brought out the positivity for you to want to talk about what you have learned, which I believe you want to become better.
My name is Anayo Victor Waboa. I work with Plotworld Realtors. Max-Migold has done a great job at lecturing us on facility management training, fundamentals, and specific core competencies in facility management. I really love it because it helped me improve myself better. Despite what I've known, there are still new developments, still new process to the way you carry out facility management procedures in your workplace. I was opportunity to ask a lot of questions and get a lot of answers to my questions and these questions and these answers will rather help me perform better at my work. Yes, Paul Erubami, I've known him for a while now, and he has been so good, he has been so nice. In fact, he called me up this morning, we talked about one or few things concerning facility management and my growth, and I really appreciate him for such an opportunity. Despite not paying any dime for this, yes, we received so much value. We've been here since morning, and we are still receiving, and we don't want to go home. I think this training is profitable for everyone who is ready to grow a career in facility management. Thank you very much.
The very first day in class was, my God, wow. The knowledge, everything in the class was just wow. That's all I can say. And today, I've been to different interview. I've done very well. I've represented very well, and I've worked in one or two organizations. Currently, where I worked, I just joined them this December, and they just made me the head of facilities. Number one was that when I came, there wasn't system at all. Nothing like PPM. They always break down of, service and all of that. So first thing I came, I took the stock, I do a PPM, I create an asset register. They were like, what's going on? So I created the system, all to the knowledge I gained through this institution.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angel Zainab Zane. I'm Managing Director and White Group Management Services, both are facilities management companies. Not too long ago, I decided to enroll my staff in a masterclass program organized by Max-Migold Limited. For some of us that are not aware, Max-Migold Limited is a physical facilities management, training, inspection, technology advisory firm. Now, I've known them for quite some time, and I chose, not too long ago, to put my staff through a training program under Max-Migold. And I can assure you that it was worth it. Why do I say that? What value has it brought to me? Or what value has it brought to my staff and to the organization generally? I can assure you there was a change. Why do I say that? Their mindset has begun to change. The way they look at attending to activities and tasks that have been given to them have changed. I even hear it in their conversations. And when you hear my staff discussing about tasks or projects that have been given to them to execute, you hear them saying, oh no, I remember in class they told me not to do this. Let's do it this way, and let's see how it's going to affect the work at the end of the day. The long and short of all what I'm trying to say to you is that if you have an opportunity to send your staff or yourself to Max-Migold, please do it, because it is worth it. And I can assure you that you will see positive changes in your staff, and which will eventually impact in your organization. Do go ahead, work with Max-Migold. You will definitely get what it is you're looking for. Have a lovely day.
We have a lot of courses actually, but I have two that are more interesting to me, like procurement management and facility maintenance strategy.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
You. I hope my audio is good. You can all hear me well. Okay. So welcome to another episode of the Facility Management Lunch Hour. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today. My name is Paul Yerubami. I'm the MDC of Max-Migold Limited and also the head of faculty of the Max-Migold Training Center, where we have produced hundreds of professionals in facility management. Max-Migold is at the forefront of modernizing facility management, moving from cut and nail repairs and reactive facility management to strategic technology-backed facility management. And so we invite you to reach out to Max-Migold anytime you have any kind of facility-related issues, whether it's consulting for new developments, whether it's solving the problems you have, with billing, with management and operations, with strategic planning. We're always available. And if you have not taken our training, the Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma, then I would say very boldly that you need to. Yeah, you need to. For those who have, thank you. And I see the progress you're making in your careers. I see the great strides as you move up the career ladder. For those who are still on the path, hoping that they will be able to join the next batch. The next batch starts on Monday, so it's here already. Monday, 27th of April. Is that 27th? Let me just check that out. Yes, 27th. So if you have not registered, please do register. For the first time, we gave out a unique kind of bonanza. A bonanza that does two things, brings more collaboration and networking among friends and colleagues, community-driven development, career development, and also helps to boost the numbers for the FM Mastercraft Diploma, because without the numbers, we really can't continue sustaining the investments we are putting into this training. And so what did we do? During the last free training we held last week, Saturday, on the 18th, we gave a special award that allows you to team up and form groups to take advantage of our group discounts. So what it means is, instead of, if you are not part of a company that already has that 10 and above 50% discount, 4 to 9, 20% discounts, and 10% for 2, 15% for 3 discounts. Now you can come together as a team or colleagues of 2 and sign up together and take 10% instead of just the 5% discount we have right now. Or you can come as a team of 3 and sign up together and take 15% discount each. So instead of having just 5% discount from the 3 of you, you end up with 15% discount for each of you. And the same applies to if you are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, or 9, you can take 20%. In fact, if you have 8 or 9 and you want 25%, we can discuss it, but each person gets that 20% off his own fees for the group, okay? And if you are 10 or more, it's a straight 50%, okay? So if you can, between now and Monday, get your organization to, do some kind of arrangements where they allow you pay later and they pay for you. The 10 of you can come on board at half price, and then you can, pay little by little from your salary to cover them up. We're just trying to, because of the economy, we're trying to see how we can accommodate as many people as possible to make it worth your while and also worth our while as we push the FM Mastercraft diploma. Congratulations to all those who attended our free training. On Saturday, I was a bit sad to see that after all our preparation, not too many people attended the physical session. Just about less than 50 were here. We had seats for 100 people, but we were encouraged by the online presence. Those who attended virtually were more than 160. So that was encouraging. Okay. So whenever you have opportunities for free training like that, please don't discount it. It was for those who were here, their testimonials, you will hear from them. Many of them are still talking about what their experiences was. So what we have done is we have sent everyone who attended an email. So if you actually attended and you signed the attendance, you received an email, and on that email is an instruction on how to take it online and earn your free certificate. Everything is free. For those who were here and those who couldn't make it, we have the video on YouTube. So I would ask that the Max-Migold team please put the video for the last free training on this chat. If you are here, you can just look out on the chat of this session and click on that link. Copy, put in your browser, and after we are done with this launch hour session, you can go into a deep dive into the entire proceedings of our 6-hour training that we had on Saturday. I'm sure you would enjoy that as well. Okay, so today I'm talking technology again, and I can't get tired of talking about technology. Our industry is bedeviled by so much crude way of doing things. We still use paper for work orders. We still use logbooks, notebooks for entries of operational activities. We still use spreadsheets, to put in data, and in many instances, spreadsheets, are not analyzed. There's no insights coming out of those data. So we want to talk about a path, an evolution for the facility manager. Whether you're a technician or a cleaner, security guard, supervisor, operations, maintenance, facility management, account, procurement, customer service, whatever your role is, there is a way to elevate yourself, get out of that crude way of doing activities into more insightful, innovative, modern, technology-backed approaches. And why is this necessary? First, the future belongs to those who can ride on technology. So every time I read about concerns about how technology and AI and IoT are going to take our jobs, I just laugh, because I know for sure that it will not take your jobs. These solutions, these innovations, this technology are meant to be enablers. Their role is to help you do your job better, not to replace you. But then we're going to have two sets of workers, two groups broadly. One group who learn to grasp technology quickly, learn the intricacies, learn the procedures and processes, and know how to use technology to do more, to do better, more consistent, more enhanced, productivity, reduce mistakes. They are the ones that will be the one to. They are the ones that will be the one to hold down the future, because they will be riding, piloting technology and AI. The other group are those who will stay where they are, not get the training on how to use new technologies, not take advantage of opportunities to learn, to experience technology innovation when they could, not invest in training, professional training, so that they can get exposed to systems and standards and technologies. They will end up losing their jobs. Now, they will lose their jobs for some other jobs that, if they're smart, they probably find other things that will not require them to use technology, because over time, our buildings are evolving. So the way buildings were built in the past, where electrical systems were basically wires and fuses and breakers and switches and sockets, it's now more than that, right? So we now have a lot of ELVs, low voltage systems that monitors, that controls different aspects of buildings. We now have electrical systems that are now designed to interconnect with IoT systems like TCP/IP internet or LoRa or other technologies. So the building is evolving, okay? So if you don't evolve with the building, of course, you may think, well, I'll keep managing the old buildings. You know how it is. There are old buildings that you can keep managing. But even the owners of those old buildings are going into retrofits and upgrades. They want higher valuation, they want higher rents, they want to attract more enlightened customers, right? So they also are going to retrofit that are upgrading those buildings into modern systems. So before long, you will be dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped until you drop out if you do not embrace technology. Okay, our customers too are becoming smarter, more enlightened. Many of people you are going to provide facility management services for have traveled. They see how facility managers, the technicians, and the cleaners work outside. They are becoming more aware because information flow globally is now very compact, very fast. Where if something happens in one country, one video uploaded makes it available for everywhere in the world. So when you hear about robotics and how robots are handling so many tasks and being so intelligent at doing certain functions that were exclusive to humans, that information is now not only available to us real time as it's happening. We now have access. I can pull out my card, go to the website of the company selling a particular type of robot, place my order, it will be shipped and delivered to me right here in Nigeria. It's now a global village that we are in. So there is no longer that we are in the developing world and there is the first world and the second world and we're in the third world, because there's a fusion now because of information flow that is very rapid and almost spontaneous, okay? So in today's session, we're going to be talking about the shift from traditional manual practices to digital and data-driven operations, key technologies transforming FM, the benefits of these digital tools, how you can improve your efficiency, decision-making, and service delivery. We're going to talk about how data and automation enhance proactive maintenance and user experience, and then how you as a facility manager can position yourself as a tech-enabled facility manager. I don't know any FM who has embraced this gospel of embracing technology and using innovation that is looking for work. They all have work. They all have. They're all busy. They're all engaged. They can only be poached when somebody wants to get them out of where they are to pay them more. That's what's going on right now in the industry. So it's an opportunity for you to kind of just open your mind, see what's possible, explore, study, and start from the little things that you have control over. Okay, for example, somebody will say, oh, my building's an old building, there's no smart building system, there is no way I can implement any of the things Mr. Paul is teaching about. But the things that you currently do, how do you elevate them? For example, you have paper forms, you have logbooks, you have spreadsheets. Can you do something as simple as moving these into a Google Drive, free Google, where you have the form created and you can share a link to your guys on the field to enter information into the form, and they can send information real time across multiple locations, and you can open that form and see the data that's been generated. That's just something as simple as that. Do you also know that you can, in that form, let's assume that document is your asset register, you can simply just use a functionality that already exists for free online to generate codes, QR codes, to paste. So that if somebody wants to do an inspection and report into that form, you can paste that code on the document paper on the wall, and somebody can scan it and say, oh, by the generator, I scan this code is for entering maintenance records into the or checklist into the generator spreadsheet that you have at the back end. So there are so many things that when you start thinking of how to move from where you are to the next level, you'll find out that there are so many simple ways. All you need to do is write down a list of your processes and say, which one can I immediately start moving from the reactive to the more strategic and technology-backed approach? Which one can I start enjoying low-hanging fruit technology adoption for? Because most of what we do is, okay, so on the surface, it looks like our job is to solve problems. But strategically, our jobs is to prevent problems. Our jobs is to remove disruptions from the lives of those we are serving. Our jobs is to ensure that the services we provide are enabling the core business and the individuals we are serving to live better lives and achieve their objectives. So we are enablers. And as strategic enablers, we need to be able to have an understanding first of what is needed based on what needs to be achieved. So for me to decide what I will provide for my clients, I need to first start with what my client is trying to achieve. So if I work for a bank or a hospital, an airport, what they are trying to achieve is different in different scenarios that I'll be working in. And because I take time first to understand what management, top management is trying to achieve, it becomes easy for me to craft my own plan, my own strategy for how I would enable that objective to be accomplished. Okay. So just starting with from where you are, I normally will not say to someone, you have a traditional old building, just go ahead and invest in a BAS, building automation system, or invest in some kind of smart technology from day one. There has to be a transition. There has to be a way to pick up from where you are, identify where you are, begin to research simple technologies just to add one tiny layer of technological enhancements to what you're doing. For example, You know, all those logs that security guards, they keep at the entrance, they'll register laptop, they'll register people that come to visit and all that, the time they came, the time they left. You can, right now, take a picture of that page, use AI to transcribe and present it in a Word or Excel format, edit it, and just get just have a data that shows your footfalls if you're managing a mall or an office complex in terms of how many people come in, how many people go, how long do they stay on the average. These numbers will affect your energy use, will affect your water use, will affect your cleaning levels and cleaning intensity, will affect so many things, your air conditioning functionality. As people come in and go, and how long they stay in the building, that's what determines the kind of services that you should provide to maintain a certain service level, right? So because today you are writing those details on a notebook, does not mean you should just ignore it, right? So start from that one, just snap it or scan it, translate it into a document where you can now say, okay, so we used to get an average of 50 people visits. And for these 50 people, looking at the time they come in and time they average leave, you put another formula where an Excel where you can subtract. You now see the average dwell time of each person in your facility. And then you can now begin to generate some kind of data that tells you the number, the period, how long they stay, what day of the week has more people, which month has more people, and so on. So you can get a sense of the cyclical flow. You can get a sense of the intensity and the volume of activities taking place in your facility. And if your facility now is one where, as people come in more, that's how the organization makes more money, right? You can use that as value, because that means that if you're providing and everybody coming in here they're comfortable, cooling is right, water is being provided, electricity is being provided, all the things that they need to have are in place, it means that you are adding a lot of value, especially when those numbers begin to increase. Because when those numbers increase, your input costs also increase. But most of us don't connect our input to our output. So we ignore all of those, and then we end up battling for budgets and budget cuts and not be able to defend our budgets and things like that to manage, because we're not connecting input versus value we are creating. That's just one simple example, right? Because if I were to step higher than that, I would install sensors on my entrance, right? I'll install a visitor management system. A visitor management system uses entry. Somebody comes in, puts in his details, put in his fingerprint, takes a picture, it's recorded, it goes, it gets a card that is enabled for the location he's going within the property. When he comes back, he plucks that card out, drops the card, and then signs out, and he goes. That data is automatically gathered. That is automatically analyzed, and a dashboard entry is made to give me that dashboard data at the end of the month or week or day. So that is an advanced system. That's beyond writing on logbooks, coming to try to make sense out of the data and the logbook. So you see that I have adopted technology by being able to scan, create a spreadsheet out of that handwritten document, being able to create more columns to analyze, and even do dashboard after the fact dashboard, reporting dashboard out of that log. Compare that to that whole investment in a visitor management system with a computer, with cameras, with cards that are RFID and GIS enabled, that can restrict people to certain locations, and when they come back, signs them out, and if they stay long, it tells me if they stay long. I can get similar, but not the same level of accuracy, but at least I have elevated. That's the point. So if I go from there and I want to say, oh, what do I currently do with my energy and water and other utilities. For many facilities, other than the meter provided by the utility, like Disco, Ikeja Disco, they probably don't have any other form of metering within the facility, right? Some of us have these panels that have either ABB or Schneider meters installed all over the place, and we virtually do nothing with them, right? So why don't you start by, tapping into the knowledge data that's available in those meters? Just take record yesterday versus today, total consumption by this compressor, total consumption by this elevator, total consumption by this pump, right? So get a sense of what each is using in the facility, because at the end of the day, monitoring is based on the data that you are getting. If you don't have the data, if you don't know what's happening, you don't know how to control it. You can't manage what you don't know. So that aggregate data that is coming from the utility company that they used to bill you, you can do two things. You can benchmark it if you are reading the other sub meters within your facility and knowing what they are consuming. You can also know how the cost can be split or spread within your facility. So that's at the basic level, just being able to pick up the data. So if there's no water meter, for example, get a water meter. I mean, if I can install water meters everywhere, to know, I can just install one water meter on the borehole that shows me what the volume of water that's produced, the one that goes into the swimming pool, the one that goes into the water treatment, the one that goes into the various apartments of building components. Now, I can advance later by installing more meters across, right? But at least for a start, I can put even a simple analog meter that I can go and read, and I know how many liters of water I'm producing. Now, when we produce water, even if you don't do anything else, there's energy involved in production of that water. So if I also have a sub-meter for that borehole or some kind of CT type meter that can give me the reading of what that borehole is consuming, I can tell exactly how much per cubic meter it's costing me to produce. How much it's costing me to produce 1 cubic meter of water. Because at the end of the day, we really need data to manage facilities. And I'm not trying to push them. This guy doesn't even understand what the business is going through. So start from where you are. Do the little things that you can start with. So if I continue with that water meter example, from the water meter that you go on, you can also have a digital water meter that you can install. It has an application you can download in your phone and remotely see how water is being produced. There are so many devices now that handle the metering, and they are enabled to connect to either Wi-Fi or SIM card inserted in them, and you can see the data remotely, right? So I'm just giving that example of water. What about refuse? What about sewage? Do you have a metering for the sewage being generated? Do you have a metering, a simple scale for weighing the refuse? Just a simple scale for weighing the refuse, so that when refuse is generated and it comes out, you know exactly the volume of refuse that you are generating. And if over time you are not able to segregate and move some over for recycling, you can tell how much of carbon credit, how much of sustainability credentials you can earn for your organization. Okay, so these are just simple steps you can take with your currently manual systems. We have data we've taken from generators, how long it works, the kilowatt hour, produced amperage, and then there are so many other information that the panel presents that you probably don't even look at those data, let alone use them for anything, right? So what we are doing now is using simple, how would I put it, IoT platforms like Thingsboard or even home assistants to, and I will connect those meters with so many parameters they yield to gateways. So this may be a bit complex as for an explanation, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. What a gateway does, it's a small device that is connected to the internet, whether wired LAN, SIM card, or Wi-Fi, right? Now, every digital device you have on your generator, the module, or the screen, the panels, the Schneider and ABB meter that I was talking about a while ago, all of them have communication ports at the back. Some of them have ROS 232, similar to that your printer, no, your monitor cable, that wide VGA. Connect these meters by wire to the gateway. Once the configuration is done in the gateway, that information automatically can be sent online through a broker or directly into a platform like Thingsboard. If you want to have visibility into all the current digital systems you have in your facility, you want to have remote access to that information, please reach out to us at Max-Migold. That's one of our special areas. It doesn't cost too much to get a gateway and then the wiring to connect all your devices and their data into that gateway. And then we'll give you an interface where you can see this data. Now, if you don't want to be surprised at the end of the month, then you must look at your energy data, for example, on a daily basis. It's not at the end of the month. So I'll tell you a story. So we had this facility where when we took it over, the billing was pretty much 1 million, 1.5 million. Of course, it wasn't fully occupied and occupancy was increasing. So for one of the months, they gave us a bill of 12 million. And we said, oh, this is too high. There must be something wrong. This meter, blah, blah, blah. Something is wrong here. Why are we getting this kind of bill, right? And so we did all kinds of protests, and a new meter was installed. So yeah, we got a new meter. Within 10 days, the new meter has amassed 100,000 kilowatt hours. Within 10 days, or within the same month, less than 1 month. And that can give you fever as a facility man. You know, you have told the resident this is how much we're going to charge. We're very confident that the money will be enough to cover everything, and here you are facing this shock. So I had to quickly say, okay, what's going on? Let me look inwards. We have meters all over the place. Every unit have a meter. The panels have meters, everything. Let's quickly start, pulling this data in together. So before we even deployed our gateways and connectivity to pull them into a smart dashboard, we started picking the data into a spreadsheet. It dawned on us that we had grossly underestimated our energy requirements. And as occupancy increased, that number went ballistic. So while we are trying to battle how to reduce, remove waste, how to improve efficiency in the system, that intelligence is now being enhanced. So what we're now doing is several things at the same time. First, we are connecting all the information, all the meters into a smart real-time dashboard, which it gives us information. But that information, if we don't do anything with it, it means that we are not really, the information is not really useful. They don't get that information or having that kind of monitoring data when you don't want to do anything with it. So what can we do with it? We now know, these air conditioners in certain common areas are running with nobody there. What can we do about that? Get occupancy sensors. Some of these occupancy sensors are so cheap, less than 30 or 40K. Put it and then connect it to the power source of the air conditioner or the lights or both in the DB in that space. So what does that mean? The sensor's job is to sense presence. If it senses presence, it triggers that breaker to come on. There's power and everything lasts. If you leave after a few minutes, it trips that breaker. So depending on someone to remember to turn things off, we have to remove that. And that can save you 20%, 30% of energy consumed in that space free. And then we have air conditioning in some places where nobody really uses this place, but we're just trying to use it to condition the environment so the place can remain conducive, and the paints will stay, and the wood there'll be no mold, just to condition temperature and humidity level. That's what we're using those ACs for. Now, we set those ACs at either 23 or 24 degrees optimal, right? But by the time you leave, somebody walking by goes to the control and turns it down to 16 degrees. The difference between 16 degrees functioning and setting and 20 degrees setting and AC is almost 40% more energy consumption, almost 40% for that unit, all to provide cooling that is excessive for the requirements. So first effort was, let's try and remove, okay, the first thing was, okay, let's try and put a sticker, do not tamper, right? Everybody can take off a sticker and still tamper, okay? So why can't we demobilize that control that everybody can access by taking off, one thing that makes it, look as if it can still work. The period that it needs to work, right? So that's you tell workers, you know what? Please schedule the elevators for this time to this time for the peak period. Schedule the trash chute for this time to this time. Schedule this, schedule that. And know what? They forget. They forget. In fact, somebody reached out to me and said, "Oh, the second elevator was not turned on for this period." I'm like, "Oh, human error." So what can we do to remove that human error? Again, we've done one with occupancy sensor. There are timer switches. Many of you are not even thinking about this. There are timer switches. They are not expensive. That's the secret. I got a bunch of them just this week for just 20K each, right? A timer switch can be programmed to allow power to flow through at the schedule. So there are some things that shouldn't run at night, for example. You can set it to be off at night. Now, for those of you who are using maximum demand meters, there's a maximum demand factor that is tied to your peak. It's called peak power factor that they bill you extra. So if you are on a one-on-one energy billing, one flat energy, the next flat has its own meter directly to the utilities, then they will bill each person one by one, and there's no maximum demand, which means you are directly. But if you are billed as an estate, you have your own dedicated transformer, then there is a maximum demand billing applied, which means your normal kilowatt hours, even if they write 209 naira per kilowatt hours, that's not exactly what you are consuming. They have certain factors that have been worked into that billing to ensure that you contribute to capital investment of the electricity disco for that neighborhood, because there's a high risk that if you decide to knock off today, they will have excess capacity. So therefore, because they provide capacity to accommodate you, you need to be paying extra to support that capital capacity they have created. It's global. It's not a Nigerian. It's not fraudulent. It's standard practice for electricity companies, utility companies to build in certain factors to take extra money as part of the billing. But what you see on your bill is, oh, your bill is 209 naira plus VAT, and that's what you're paying. But to get to that 209 naira in terms of the kilowatts itself, they use apparent power, they use other factors, and then they come up with something that they will bill it with. So the point I'm going to here is, I want to watch my peak. There are certain things, once I know what my peak is, because I'm now monitoring the consumption hour by hour by hour by hour, consistently, I should know the hours that are the peak in my facility. During that peak, I want to reduce my consumption as much as possible to reduce that peak, because if that peak is very high, the peak factor is higher. If it is very low, the peak factor is lower. Okay, so how do I do that? I can use timer switches to program certain activities away from the peak period. For example, many of us have water tanks and boreholes that produce water. And most engineers, when they finish setting up your system, if it drops to 70%, for example, the ball kicks in and raises it back to 95% or 90%, right? And then it keeps doing that ping pong of drop to 70% and ball pumps to fill it up. And that's a continuous thing, right? Now, if I have a capacity of tank that can, that's 70 or 80% of my tank can carry me for a 24-hour period, for example, even 12-hour period for a typical day, I can prevent the borehole from coming on during my peak. So it fills up. Let's say my peak is 11:12 in the morning, 11 to noon. I can now allow the borehole run, fill up. By 10 o'clock, the timer switch, demobilizes the borehole, and then of course I have enough capacity to run till like 5 o'clock when I'm clear of my peak, and then the timer switch releases the borehole. Borehole pumps and fills up, continues to top up continuously. I won't touch its flow meter setting. Right? It just tops and fills up. It keeps doing all the ping pong of topping and use till the next day by 11. By 11 again, it disengages. Now, you need to also be sure that you have a steady power supply, so you don't end up the timer doesn't now put it off at a time when there was no light and the tanks were not filled. Then you now create another disruption. So intelligence matters, that the kind of systems you have in place before you can drop or deploy some of these technologies. So I'm just giving you basic technologies, things that you can start with now. Recently, we had we have an underground tank, and we have for diesel. And so suppliers come, they dump their diesel using their own meter to put it in. And it is calibrated. So we're saying, oh, we took it like that, so let's do another calibration. And the vendor we engaged, calibrated the tank and gave us a chart and everything. And initially we could have accepted, this is a nice job, they did a professional job. But when the first diesel supplier came to supply, by the time he was at 9,000 to 9,400, 9,500 liters, our expert calibration was already reading 10,000 liters. So, oh, wow, diesel vendor, how come you set your system up to cheat yourself? We have, gotten this high and your meter is just telling us this. I don't know any vendor that, uses a pump mechanism or meter that, shortchanges himself. And then, so we waited till the next supply. And the next vendor came again and delivered, and there was this. So that was 2 witnesses to tell us that this calibration was wrong. So don't be of solutions without it. Okay, if you prove it beyond doubt, and get them back to correct themselves. For example, all the meters I'm talking about that you're going to acquire, they all need to be calibrated. They all need to be calibrated to standard. Okay, so it's just like having a clock, and the clock tells you, you have a clock and a wristwatch, and the clock tells you a different time from the wristwatch, and one is always constantly slower than the other. Then you need to find out which one is properly calibrated and which one is wrong. Because with technology, you can get your that could be correct and mine could be wrong. Mine could be correct and that could be wrong. But if I get to that point where there's a difference between the two, and I do an investigation and find the one that is wrong and correct that one, my satisfaction will come when they both now align, which means they're doing the same thing, they're measuring right. Okay. Now let's talk about the processes we work with. So you have your spreadsheet for preventive maintenance. You have your inspection sheet where you have and for some reasons, I think it's general. I don't know if you've had any perfect system. If you have works that have been scheduled throughout the year, and you now on a daily basis check which of those tasks were expressly or correctly performed, you find a disparity between what was planned and what was done. All kinds of reasons. Now, if that reporting happened after the fact, end of the month or end of the quarter, for example, anybody can just populate it up as if they were all done on time. For example, if you were to service your elevator or your air conditioning system and you didn't, after 1 week you finally did, at the end of the month, you will still report that it was done. But a lot of things could have gone wrong for the 1 week that you delayed that maintenance activity, right? So, but if that system was in a computerized system, the day before it's time, it starts, giving you reminders. When it's time, it starts counting down to the service level configured for it. So that if that service level for an activity that is quarterly, for example, is set up at 1 week, it will count down to 7 days and report it as not done, right? So at the end of the month, even if you end up doing that activity at the end of the month, the report will not say it was done when it was scheduled. Okay, to present an objective report of what actual is. And then a work order automatically is generated for every planned activity. What does that mean? It means that I don't have to depend on the worker to remember to create a work order and start implementing that activity. The work order automatically is created. And if the person does not fill it and put in, a series of escalation mechanism is built into the software to escalate to the next person to say this task was due and it's not being done. All of this helps to reduce human errors, helps to prompt and remind us, helps us to prioritize correctly what we need to do. Okay, and then there's so much more apart from scheduling and reporting. It also have how long it take you to do the job. If I start the job at this time and I finish at this time, now we can have work orders that are infused with enough information to guide performance, like checklists. So instead of me just doing whatever I like, the electronic work order from this computerized maintenance management system will have a work method statement, step-by-step way of doing what that work order expects you to do, and will require you to tick that you follow the procedure, and then you digitally sign that you have completed it. That ensures that there is quality assurance. It ensures that there is a control over how you want to use your laziness to do whatever you feel like. After all, nobody's watching you. And if you did tick, 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 and sign up everything as working right, you've done everything perfectly, and it's found out that that's not what happened, becomes an integrity issue. You might lose your job for that if that is enforced, right? So it's not just automaticity; it's now more of it guides. And then it enhances or enforces compliance to the way things should be done. So if Mr. A does it and versus Mrs. B's effort, it will turn out with the same experience for the end user. So that's one of the things. Then another big thing that this software does for us, it helps us to have a history, automatic history. So I can go back, drill down on assets and see all that has been done to it, on it, around it for the last, for the period I've been using that system. The record system is kept perpetually, unlike paper and logs that either didn't feel it well or I filled it and I've dashed it off and then I continue. There's little connection between the information I have on my paper, on my table today versus what I had, previous periods. But with the software, I can query everything back to inception. And it will help to boost productivity. People will do their work better because the reports cannot be manipulated. It's what you did that will be shown. We can now have systems built in now. Let me tell you some of the good things that are going into CMMS. If you've not adopted, be on the lookout. Max-Migold will be launching Facilities Desk in a matter of weeks. So I'm excited because some of the things that you will not find in other CAFRIM or CMMS systems that you'll find in the Max-Migold Facilities Desk will include: one, AI auto-generation of your maintenance steps and your work orders. So all you need to do is know your assets, fill your assets into it. And even if you don't know how to maintain a compressor, a borehole pump, or a generator, don't worry. If you put that information in, our system will source out all the steps that are recommended, and you will pick what you want to adopt. Once you adopt it, it begins to generate work orders for you automatically. That's the beautiful thing that we're having. The other thing we're going to surprise you with that's not common in other systems you will be seeing out there is compliance to positioning. I don't know how to put this. So if somebody is supposed to do a certain job in a certain location, a certain inspection, right? The person will need to be there, right? So there will be evidence that the person is actually there, not when you didn't do what you should have done. You log on to your computer in the office and you just tick everything as done from your office. It will no longer work, right? Somebody has to be there. There's a selfie involved. There's a GIS involved. You have to show that you actually did that job at the point of doing it. And then finally, it's going to be as easy as ABC. All you need is your phone. Just get your phone. There's a QR code that is automatically generated for all the assets you put into it. All you need to do is print out the QR code, staple it on the body of that asset, and someone who has authority to perform any task related to that asset, once he scans it, he signs into the software, he's able to fill in more information, submit it. Let's say you come into a space and you check an AC and the AC has compressor issues. You open it, you scan the QR code, you sign in to the software, you enter the information that you have scoped, and that starts a work process, a workflow. For example, you need to check with store inventory whether that compressor is available. You need to get approval from a supervisor, to go ahead with the work. You need to get procurement to scope the costs related to that pasta you want to buy, approval, from the bosses to pay, even the RFQ for the vendors. You set up vendors and you send them the specification, put in your quotes into the system, they put it in, we select the one we want to select, so send him a PO automatically from the system. He delivers, he puts in his way bill into the system, it goes back to audit, it goes back to account, it goes back to the boss to approve payment, and it gets his money. The job is done. That work order goes to the end user. Say, we've done A, B, C, D, E, F. Can you please confirm that satisfied with our job, and how how did we do? Rate us here and here and here. And the end user rates and then closes out, sends back the work order for closing. So in essence, that we're not currently doing now will be just walk you through the workflow. So you no longer have the option not to implement a best practice. Because of course you may not, and if you don't, it's going to report against you at the end of the day. Okay, so you may not know too much about maintenance, but now we can use the system to teach you maintenance. You may not be too diligent in the past with getting things done right step by step, but with this kind of system, you'll be given a guardrail. So look out for it, and this is where softwares are going. And Max-Migold is at the forefront of making this a reality for us in Nigeria. But you can move from there to a kind of facility management that is IoT based, sensors and smart technologies. What are we saying? I can set up logic algorithms that certain things should happen without any human intervention. The same way you will have those little robots that you can have on the ground in the room, that whenever you drop anything, the robot just comes and zaps it up to make sure the room is always kept clean. That robot has sensors that are looking everywhere. So when something drops on the ground, it sees it as trash, it comes in and then it mops it up and cleans it up for you, right? So that's how your building will work. There will be triggers, actions and reactions that are automated across the facility. For example, let's take something as simple as your air conditioning system. Most air conditioning systems will have a ventilation inlet, an air handling unit component where fresh air is introduced into the spaces. Unfortunately, there are so many too that don't have such opportunities. So you have to open your windows to get fresh air in every now and then. That's totally manual. Of course, again, there are window automations that we can connect, something that opens your window for you and closes it back if the oxygen level is too small. So what we're basically saying is have a sensor that senses oxygen level and all the other gases that should be in the environment that shouldn't be there, for example, senses them, checks their level. There is optimal, there is minimal levels already set. If something drops below this level, you need to bring in oxygen, right? So if the air handling unit system has a damper that can open and allow fresh air to be fanned into that space, it opens automatically, it's fanning fresh air into the space, and then the sensor keeps reading and reading as that oxygen level is rising to a certain point. When it reaches the threshold that is ideal, optimal for that space, the damper is told to close. No human intervention. And you can do the same thing with your window. Okay, so I don't have air conditioning system that uses dampers that allow fresh air in. I can set up the little controller that can control the window. Just the same way you have those ones that controls curtains, blinds, to open it and close it. You can have the one that also controls your window. So if the place is becoming, unhealthy, a window can open gently, allow fresh air in. The sensor keeps reading until it's enriched enough, and then the window is shut back because we have enough oxygen. So this is just a simple automation. And there are things that you can buy in the markets in Nigeria today to create this automation, the sensor, the opener and closer, and then the software interface that you can use to implement it. So if you are in a situation where you need enhancements, IoT enhancements in your facilities, you want some smart systems, please talk to Max-Migold. We have automated whole buildings by just changing one component. And what is that? Your DB, distribution board. We just take out the distribution board and put in smart distribution boards. And what are those smart boards? Those fuses and breakers you have inside, each one now becomes internet enabled, right? So we'll have each one able to connect to Wi-Fi. The ones I have in the office here, for example, they connect to Wi-Fi, and they can I can see them in my IoT platform in my interface to see which one is on, which one is off, how many watts they are reading at any particular time, and I can put them off. And if I connect them inside that software to an occupancy sensor that I have in my office to say, if I am not here, turn off my AC. So the AC has its own breaker there. That breaker is being controlled from inside the software. The sensor, occupancy sensor, is connected to the software, and they are both able to talk to each other. As I leave, I don't need to remind anybody, I don't need to switch any button off. The sensor goes to the breaker and says, turn off. The breaker turns off. That's for the AC. If I wanted to do the same thing for the light, I'll do the same thing for the lights. So there are simple systems now that we can deploy and make a lot of positive results. So I know that this is a lot. Digital transformation is not easy. It doesn't come. You just need to have a vision of where you want it to go, and then set about to start little by little. And don't forget, Max-Migold and our team are here to support you all through. So that's where I'm going to end today's session. It's something I'm so passionate about. So if I've been yapping all the way, I hope you've gotten things that you can think about and taking notes of one or two actions that you can immediately start implementing. If you need information about the particular devices for certain particular activities, please reach out to us at Max-Migold. If you want to get involved in smart things to get the right software and start playing around and getting some automation to your facilities. So thank you very much. Can I take a question or two? I know my time is up.
Thank you, sir, for this great opportunity. In fact, this topic is very, very interesting. So, like, I want to ask, right, all these technologies, and so, like, even though, there are some points where you want to introduce them to your company, and um, they might not really agree with your suggestion, you know. But apart from that, how do you undo that, and how do one acquire this knowledge actually? That is my question, sir.
Okay, like I said, Diane, you need to start and generate some kind of momentum for companies to start investing in your ideas. Okay, so if no one is trying to invest in what you are thinking of right now, switch to the low-hanging fruits. I talked about converting your logbooks into smart data. I talked about the little things that you can get from your operational expenses, like the scale to weigh refuse, like the meters you can buy to meters at sub levels, some of your utilities consumption. Start from somewhere and build momentum so that when you that data to add value, you can go to the next step and start making proposals that will be accepted. That's how I would normally recommend. If you sign up and take the FM Mastercraft diploma, we'll dive a bit deeper into this. But beyond that, you also need to, if you want to have specific projects and you want to participate with you, please feel free to get in touch, and we'll definitely help you fashion out something that's reasonable. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and don't forget to look at the chats, everyone. We have put out there the YouTube link for the free training we had. We also have there the special promo we have that is running now. If you pay for yourself, you get 5%. If you pay for 2 people, you get 10% each from the 2. 5 to 9 people, you get 20% off from each one, and 10 and above, you get a full 50% from each one. So, and then we are giving you this opportunity only this time to be able to, come as friends, not just as companies. So if your company is not sponsoring you and you have people looking for work in your community or your friends who wants to change job, just form a small committee and then pull together funds and come on and roll together. It's always fun growing and advancing our careers together. All right. So thank you. Have a good rest of the week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.